Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Alright, oh my God, what a Saturday for college football. We arguably had one of the, if not the greatest Saturday for college football because we had 6 ranked games and almost all of them were upsets. We had Tennessee upset Alabama 52-49. We had TCU upset Oklahoma State 43-40 in double overtime. And we had Utah upset USC on a 2-point conversion that they committed to make it 43-42 with less than a minute to go. But unfortunately, when USC got the ball, they could not capitalize the way they wanted to. But other than that, we had an amazing Saturday, and I don't know if we can get any better than what we had yesterday for college football. Now, there were a lot of great games to watch, but the game to watch was Alabama versus Tennessee. Alabama was on a 15-year streak of beating Tennessee, and the last time that Tennessee beat Alabama was in 2006. And yesterday, they made history, beating them 52-49. Now, the player of the game was Jalin Hyatt. He gave us his own dose of Randy Moss because he had 6 catches for 207 yards for 5. I repeat, 5 touchdowns. That's 56.7 fantasy points. Like, this guy, if you had college football fantasy, this guy would have won the game for you. He was that dominant. Jalin Hyatt had, and probably will have for the rest of the year, performance of the year. He broke Tennessee's single game record for most receiving touchdowns in one game. And he just personally destroyed the Crimson Tide's defense. And between both Alabama and Tennessee, Bryce Young and Hendon Hooker had a complete shootout. Now, with Bryce Young, he was fortunately able to come back into this game coming from a shoulder injury, and we're all asking the question is he going to be able to perform at top level because of that, coming from that injury, because he was a little bit forced to come into this game. But Bryce Young is one tough dude because coming from the shoulder injury and what he dealt with in this Tennessee game, getting smacked around all game long and looking like he was unfazed, was just incredible to watch. And good thing he did come back because Bryce Young and Hendon Hooker gave us a game to remember forever. It is one of the greatest college football games you could ever witness. Now, between Bryce Young and Hendon Hooker, they went off. They combined for 840 passing yards, and between both of the teams, they had a combined of 1,136 total yards. And what's interesting is they nearly matched each other in total yards for each other. Alabama just had 2 yards more. Alabama had 569, Tennessee had 567. Now, with what Hendon Hooker did in this game, he might have pushed himself all the way to the top of the Heisman race right now, and is probably running out #1 right now, but CJ Stroud is right there with him. But that might be Hendon Hooker's spot right now because of his dominant performance against Alabama. Now, with this game, I hope that this is a rematch come December when they have to go to Atlanta for the SEC championship, because this game would be unbelievable for a rematch, and we could get another great game. And besides, we almost need a rematch because this game was one for the books. And other than college football, hockey had a crazy game themselves too. The game was the Los Angeles Kings versus the Minnesota Wild, and in this game, the offenses were so dominant. They made it look like the goalies decided to not show up, as 13 total goals were scored in this game. And in that first period, LA was started off really hot, scoring 4 goals for themselves, making Marc-Andre Fleury look absolutely terrible. They were able to make Minnesota make multiple mistakes and not be consistent or control the puck at all. And in this first period, 6 total goals were scored, and LA was able to outscore them 4-2. And with what LA and Minnesota did in this game, they practically took advantage of every shot they took, and practically it was capitalized almost every single time. Now, in that second period, after LA had that 4-2 lead, the Minnesota Wild, they were able to score 2 goals as well to keep it a game. As time was going on. They were making LA commit 5 penalties, and they were capitalizing on power plays and miscues that the Kings were making, and that's what was helping the Wild keep the game afloat for them. And there were multiple players that got multiple points, because on the LA Kings, 3 guys got 3 points, and 1 guy out of Minnesota, he got 3 points as well. But in totality, like probably 10 players scored a point or more. That's how crazy this game was. Now, all the way going into that third, Minnesota they were pushing, they were trucking along, and they finally made it a tie game, because in that third period, they were starting to make power plays their best friend, because in totality of this game, they were able to capitalize on 3 of the 6 power plays that they were on, and that's also another reason on why they were able to keep up with LA in this game. And the Wild, they were in this game. Both of these teams, they were looking to get a win, because both of them were winless. Minnesota was 0-1, and LA was 0-2, but LA, they were able to finish off this game and beat Minnesota 7-6, thanks to Adrian Kempe's dominant 3-goal hat-trick performance to seal the deal by getting the last goal of the game to beat Minnesota 7-6. Now, well, with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, from what happened with them, it looked like that there was a little bit of a beatdown for this organization. But since then, and as of recently, it looks like that organization and the teammates of Poole and Green are back together, and they're making everything work out. Especially the Warriors, because the Warriors signed a couple of players to a couple of big deals. And who did they sign? They signed Jordan Poole, and they signed Andrew Wiggins to 4-year contracts. Andrew Wiggins signed for $109 million, and Jordan Poole signed for $140 million. So this dynasty is here to stay, and let's just see how many more championships they can win, because this dynasty is still pushing along, and they got a new guy that can help them be even more dangerous, which is Jordan Poole. With Andrew Wiggins, he finally found his spot and his place in his rhythm to finally get going in his career. He was finally putting up numbers and finally became a true all-star that we were all hoping he'd turn into be. And because of Steve Kerr, Andrew Wiggins was able to capitalize on everything that was made possible for him to make him that better player. Now, with Jordan Poole, he's becoming a third Splash Brother, and his dominance because of that is becoming harder and harder to stop as time goes on. And with Jordan Poole going into next year, I think he has a shot at breaking into the 20-point column. He scored 18.5 points per game last year, and that was his best season. Now, going into year 4, I think he's going to break into the 20-point column and improve all around his offensive game. So, let's see what he's got for year 4, because the Warriors, they're starting to look like that they can go back-to-back again from previous years that we've seen. Alright, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media whatsoever. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever.